Last chance. Your miracle will happen in 11 minutes after seeing this secret message. It is only. The sky did not speak softly. It cracked like the shell of a dying star, groaning as if centuries of hidden cries burst loose in a single breathless instant. The air thickened, and time stumbled, bent beneath the pressure of something ancient returning. The wind staggered through the trees like a hunted spirit. Each leaf twisted in place, unsure whether to cling or fall. Above, the moon trembled behind torn clouds, veiled in a silver mourning cloth. This was not the beginning, it was the return. Something lost had found its way back, dragged across lifetimes and buried secrets, gasping for light. The hourglass that had long stopped turned upright again, trembling with a whisper of judgment. God says the silence you felt was not abandonment, but the pause before the divine upheaval. You were never forgotten, just hidden for your protection. But now, the protection is lifting, and with it, so is the veil. Thunder split the world like a war cry. Cities slept, unaware of the vibration beneath their bones. But you, the chosen vessel, felt it. It rippled through your chest like a prophecy half remembered and half feared. In a place not far from where you sit now, something sacred is stirring. An altar, long frozen in time, begins to sweat with holy dew. The bones of betrayal shift beneath the earth as heaven reclaims its right to intervene. There is a name spoken in the dark tonight, yours. Not shouted, not whispered, but summoned. And with each syllable, the atmosphere bends and breaks in ways it was never meant to. Archangel Michael says your bloodline was marked by interference, spirits that twisted fate for their gain, cloaked in family. But no more. The sword is drawn, and the judgment rides behind it. The clock in the hidden realm ticks once. Then twice. Then 11 times louder than ever before. You don't see them yet, but the watchers have gathered. Winged shadows cast no form, but they encircle your home, touching each wall, each doorway, each mirror that once reflected lies. You are being sealed for what's next. One who betrayed you is shaking right now, far away but tethered to you by cords they thought couldn't be severed. They feel their grip slipping as heaven shifts. What they once controlled is slipping like sand through cursed fingers. God says a great exposure is coming. The thing they thought no one would ever find out is now being written in the air with fire. You will not need to speak, the heavens will scream it. There is movement under your bed at night that isn't imagined. There are dreams you had as a child that were not just dreams. You were warned then, but innocence muffled it. Now, truth crashes like an iron bell in a haunted church. A door you forgot you closed years ago is opening again. And through it walks not who you expected, but who was always meant to return. A guardian, cloaked in the scent of smoke and jasmine, arrives at your threshold. You are not alone anymore. But that means the enemy isn't either. Mirrors may break tonight. Phones may ring and fall silent. Words may be spoken to you with trembling lips from people who never cared to apologize before. This is the sign, the unraveling has begun. Archangel Michael says the ledger of wrongs is open. And your name is not written among the guilty. He has removed the final blockage. The wound that never closed is now a gate, and through it, power will flood. Do not flinch when the light burns. It is not punishment, it is purification. The cries you released in secret were not wasted. They were stored in vials of crystal, held in angelic hands, ready to be poured out as miracles in this hour. Your breath may shorten. Your skin may feel colder. The dimensions are folding against each other, and your spirit is stretching toward the one place where all wrongs will be undone. In the next 11 minutes, a chain reaction begins. You won't see it all now, but you will feel its pull, gentle at first, then urgent, then undeniable. There is no force strong enough to stop what has been set in motion. Your miracle has waited long enough. The clouds rolled like mourning beasts across the sky, and the moon withdrew behind their backs, unwilling to watch what must unfold. In the hollow hush that followed, the scent of smoke mingled with ancient salt, sorrow hanging in the air like incense from a forgotten altar. Something once holy had been tampered with. The betrayal was not new. It had been dressed in love, handed to you with trembling smiles and warm hands that concealed poison. And even now, the memory of their voice, laced with deception, crawls up your spine like cold breath. They were close to you, closer than anyone should have been. A whisper away from your soul, they pressed in, not with affection, but with silent intentions soaked in envy. Their jealousy was hidden beneath gifts, favors, and rehearsed concern. God says they tried to steal what heaven anointed on your name. They weaved themselves into your narrative with dark thread, hoping you'd never notice how twisted the pattern became. But your destiny was never theirs to rewrite. As a child, you saw shadows where no one else did. You heard words in the dark that you didn't understand. Those weren't dreams, they were premonitions. The betrayal began even before you had the words to name it. A cold hand once brushed your shoulder when no one was in the room. That was not a ghost. It was the residue of an oath made against your rising, by someone you loved. Archangel Michael says he has uncoiled the serpent wrapped around your timeline. The venom was slow, subtle, and divine eyes wept while you trusted the hands that planted seeds of confusion and lack. But those seeds never bore the fruit they prayed for, they bore thorns, and now, those thorns are turning on them. The one who smiled at your fall will now shudder at your rise. The miracle that is forming for you will shatter their illusion of control. And the curse they uttered in secret? It has turned, fully alive and hungry, toward its maker. The door they tried to lock you behind has crumbled. The walls that kept your blessings delayed are now bowing outward. Cracks have formed under their pride, and the truth is leaking out through the smallest openings. Their dreams are now full of images they cannot explain, burning feathers, golden scrolls, your name written in flame. They toss in their sleep, chased by the very angels they mocked. The heavens are no longer quiet. You are no longer under their spell. That heaviness in your chest. It's lifting, like wet cloth peeled from your lungs. Every sleepless night is being rewritten in the language of vengeance wrapped in grace. A betrayal like this echoes beyond blood and time. It clings to generations, tries to repeat itself through children, through spouses, through inherited silence. But you have broken the cycle. You are the rupture in the dark pattern. The moment they underestimated you, the miracle began its formation. slowly at first, like molten gold beneath ice. But now it pulses and throbs, aching to be born, and nothing, no lie, no curse, no sabotage, can hold it back. God says your name has been reinstated in the celestial archives. No more delays. No more loopholes. What was buried under shame and manipulation is now bursting through the surface like light from a cracked tombstone. The wind now moves differently around you. It doesn't pass, it surrounds, it shields. You walk among things unseen, but not unknown. They know who you are, even if you've only just remembered. The betrayal you suffered was not the end. It was the ignition. Each time your heart broke, a seal was loosed in heaven. Each time you forgave, a lock fell from your miracle's gate. Archangel Michael says the books have been balanced. The one who tampered with your purpose has been given notice, they have lost jurisdiction. The price of their interference will be collected by divine decree. You may feel sudden exhaustion. That is the weight of spiritual release. You've been holding the ache of generations, but tonight, it pours from you like oil onto sacred ground. This is the part where the betrayer begins to unravel. Their lies begin to contradict. Their mask begins to sweat. The truth is now a living flame, and no amount of silence will suffocate it. You are being rewritten by divine fire. Not scorched, but refined. Not consumed, but crowned. The pressure is rising because the miracle is near. Not a whisper, not a hope, but a thundering arrival. You will not need to knock on any more doors, they will open at your presence. What they tried to delay will now arrive faster. What they tried to bury will now rise stronger. What they tried to curse will now be sanctified. The betrayal was deep, but your transformation is deeper. A howl moves through the night like a blade of smoke, slicing through every unspoken truth. Far above the world, the constellations shift in silence, rearranging themselves as if to prepare for a reckoning. The old contract, one written in blood, tears, and divine fire, has been disturbed. Beneath it all, a scroll sealed since the hour of your first cry begins to tremble. It pulses with a light not meant for mortal eyes, a soft radiance wrapped in thunder. Heaven does not rush, but tonight, it unfolds. You were written into this scroll, a sacred name whispered into golden ink before time kissed flesh. What was hidden has waited, cloaked in layers of secrecy, guarded by blades that never rust. But now, the seal has cracked, and the awakening surges like storm tide. Archangel Michael says the order has been given. The seventh lock is undone. The words that once held back your miracle now peel away like serpent skin. The people who tried to rewrite your identity will be silenced. Their version of your story will collapse in front of witnesses. The scroll contains the version heaven always intended, radiant, unbroken, unstoppable. Each betrayal is written in the margins of this scroll, not to remind you of pain, but to record every moment that shaped your authority. Every scar is a key, and every tear is a signature on the decree of your ascension. They called you weak, too emotional, too late, but those were projections of their own crumbling thrones. You were always meant to inherit more than they ever imagined. And now, that inheritance approaches like a lion through mist. God says time no longer works the same around you. What took years will now happen in days. What was stagnant will now move with terrifying velocity. You'll notice objects shifting, keys misplaced, clocks that skip, lights that flicker when you pass. These are signs of the rift widening between the old you and the emerging you. You are no longer entirely here, but also there, walking both realms until they merge. The scroll reveals names, some you recognize, others buried in ancestral memory. Each one connected to your timeline like rusted chains. Some will fall away like dust. Others will try to cling, screaming, as divine fire cuts them loose. Archangel Michael says your name is being declared before the throne. Not as a victim, but as a witness. Not as someone pleading, but as someone appointed. The ones who doubted you will feel discomfort in your presence. Not because you seek revenge, but because light makes hidden things squirm. Their comfort was built on your dimness, and now you blaze. Even your reflection will seem different. Not in features, but in depth. The eyes you carry now contain realms. They see further than you admit, and your gaze unsettles every lying spirit still hiding near you. The scroll pulses as it finishes unfolding. On its surface, your miracle takes form, not as a gift, but as a restoration. It was never stolen. It was detained, stored in a realm where corruption couldn't reach. Now that storage bursts open. You may feel wind without windows. Heat without fire. These are physical echoes of spiritual convergence. God says everything is arriving on time, but ahead of schedule in human terms. What they thought would take 10 more years will fall into your lap in 11 more minutes. And that's why hell is trembling. The dream that kept recurring, of stairs, of water, of something being handed to you but never seen clearly, was the preview. The scroll held the full image. It's ready now. There will be a moment soon when something ordinary feels like a movie scene. A song, a scent, a touch, suddenly layered with meaning you can't explain. That is the scroll speaking through reality. A portal has opened near your home, not visible to others, but felt in your chest. A warmth that builds just behind the sternum. That is the gate. You will cross without realizing it. The moment you do, everything accelerates. You'll speak and things will happen. You'll think and doors will unlock. This power isn't new, it's remembered. Archangel Michael says the scroll also contains warnings. There is one final soul who has not revealed their true face. Someone still close, still pretending. But the scroll is unmasking them even now. The exposure may come through a slip of the tongue. A message sent to the wrong person. A photo found. It won't be your doing, but you will be ready. Let the revelation cut where it must. You are not being punished. You are being prepared to reign. The scroll will close soon, but when it does, it seals not in secrecy, but in release. You'll carry its essence with you, a hidden heat behind your words. Every room you enter will bend slightly, acknowledging your presence. The betrayal once felt like the loudest part of your story. But the scroll has silenced it. Now, all that remains is transformation. The air has turned. A shift so slight it's almost unnoticeable, but your soul knows. It feels like the sky holding its breath, like every tree tilting ever so slightly toward you. Birds scatter for no reason. Shadows stretch where they shouldn't. Mirrors seem deeper. These are not coincidences, they are reactions. The environment now answers to the vibration moving through you. The betrayal fractured something, but in its place, light began to rise like steam from scorched earth. What was broken is not returning to its old shape, it is evolving into something the enemy cannot touch. Your identity has become armor. God says your spirit has passed the hidden test. Not because you endured perfectly, but because you didn't stop walking. Even when the ground disappeared beneath you, even when voices turned into knives, you pressed on. Archangel Michael says time was paused while heaven made room. Your miracle is not arriving late, it waited for you to be fully ready. And that time has come. There is someone watching you now, someone once close, whose envy fermented into sabotage. They do not understand why things are moving for you. They see you rise and are bewildered by grace they cannot replicate. You may receive a message, a call, a subtle outreach. Don't be fooled. The enemy often returns disguised as memory, sentiment, or unresolved guilt. But the betrayal has already shown you who they are beneath the mask. Their curiosity is not innocence. It is a last attempt to tether themselves to your rising. They see what's coming for you, though they'd never admit it. You are not cold for moving forward without them. You are not cruel for protecting your oil. The miracle requires sacred boundaries, and heaven enforces what you refuse to compromise. There is an opening forming behind you, where the past once ruled. It will try to reach forward, try to beg for restoration. But the wind has changed direction, and what once led you will no longer follow. You may feel disoriented, like your body is here but your soul is floating half an inch above. That is spiritual altitude adjusting. You are ascending dimensions of favor. Your words will feel heavier soon. Conversations that once drained you will now dry up entirely. Doors you used to knock on will now open before you even arrive. Archangel Michael says you are marked with divine recognition. Spirits that once mocked you now bow. You've been inscribed with fire, a symbol invisible to man, but undeniable in the realm of the unseen. There is no more delay. The wind is now your ally. It pushes you forward like breath behind sails, pulling miracles from tomorrow into your present. They will say it happened overnight, but only you know the nights that built it. The nights you screamed into your pillow. The nights you held shattered hope like glass and refused to let go. Now the wind answers you. Birds change direction when you walk beneath them. Strangers look at you as if they've met you in dreams. This is the evidence of a life being divinely rewritten. God says the shift cannot be reversed. Even if you try to go back, the path behind you has already collapsed. You are not allowed to shrink again. And the betrayal, they will try to repent when they realize their curses backfired. But your forgiveness does not include re-entry. Mercy does not mean amnesia. The ones who watched you fall will now be forced to witness you fly. The silence they gave you will now echo louder than their presence ever did. You owe them nothing but distance. You will begin to see visions again, flashes of a different you. Not fantasies, but previews. Pay attention to the colors, the scents, the sounds, they are codes. Archangel Michael says the scroll has imprinted instructions into your dreams. If you wake up gasping, shaking, or overwhelmed, it is because your spirit is decoding too fast. Drink water. Rest. Then move. You are carrying glory now. Not future glory, active, living, moving glory. It will agitate the unclean, unsettle the comfortable, and activate the broken. People will look to you for guidance. Don't resist. Your voice has been tempered in divine heat. It now cuts through fog like sword through silk. You don't need a platform. The earth itself has been assigned to amplify your steps. Even when you say nothing, the atmosphere around you will speak. The betrayal once made you question your worth. But now, it has only proven your weight. You were always heavier than they could carry. Let the wind continue. Don't anchor where it once hurt. Let it lift you beyond the tree line, where the air is thin but holy. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them ache. They are spectators now, watching the miracle they tried to delay unfold anyway. And when the wind howls at midnight, remember, it no longer warns. It now worships. Something inside the veil is crumbling. The one who smiled while hiding their blade has been marked by divine consequence. Their laughter is now caught in their throat, and their steps are heavy with the weight of judgment. You may feel it before you see it. A strange silence surrounding their name. A sensation like chilled breath on your neck whenever they are mentioned. That is not paranoia. That is confirmation. God says the trap they dug for you has opened under their own feet. The judgment was delayed only so you could rise far enough not to look back when it came. Now, the collapse has begun. Archangel Michael says the scale has tipped. The angelic host stands ready. Their names are being read aloud in places they never thought you would hear them. There will be news, small at first, then undeniable. Their protection has lifted. The favor they borrowed using your name has expired. What was built on lies cannot withstand exposure. They once walked with confidence through rooms meant for you. But now, those very rooms will reject them. Their charm will rot in their mouth. Their alliances will dissolve in silence. You may notice them try to cling again. Not out of love, but desperation. They fear the justice that is no longer delayed. They fear your eyes that now see clearly. Do not offer pity. It was never a misunderstanding. It was calculated theft wrapped in false affection. And heaven does not confuse intention with impact. Their foundation is cracking, and their secrets are bubbling to the surface like oil on water. Those who once protected them will now abandon them, because the light around you has made their darkness unbearable. God says it is not your hands executing this judgment. It is heaven balancing what man tried to distort. You are not called to revenge, you are called to rise. Still, there is pain. The pain of realizing how deeply they knew you, and still chose harm. The pain of love misused. But you are no longer held hostage by what they did in shadows. You've been appointed as witness, not victim. Your life now testifies to the reality that God does not forget the cries of the betrayed. And those cries have become thunder in the spirit. Archangel Michael says their time has run out. Even the demons they danced with have grown silent. They are alone now, surrounded by echoes of the loyalty they fractured. Their dreams will turn cold. Their ambitions will dry in their hands. They will taste dust in moments that were meant to be sweet. And you will not be there to save them. Not out of cruelty, but out of sacred alignment. The elevation you've stepped into forbids you from going back. The crown you wear cannot bow to past manipulators. They will say it was you who changed. They will say you turned cold. But you know the truth, they mistook your kindness for currency. And now they face the absence of your light. Even their allies feel it. A discomfort. A spiritual allergy to your name. You carry the scent of something real, and it agitates every illusion. God says what they tried to steal will now multiply in your hands. Not just once, but sevenfold. The years they cost you are being restored in minutes. The gate they closed is swinging wide open. What they blocked is rushing forward like floodwaters behind a broken dam. And all they can do is watch. Archangel Michael says your authority now repels imposters. You won't even need to speak, your spirit will filter rooms without effort. You are becoming untouchable. Their words no longer affect you. Their attempts to rewrite your legacy fall silent under the sound of your rise. They underestimated who backed you. You will see them stumble. Not with glee, but with understanding. The collapse is mercy. The silence is protection. The exposure is justice. They are now trapped in a web they spun for you. The energy they used against you is folding back around them like smoke choking its source. You are not cold for watching them fall. You are not arrogant for rising unbothered. You are aligned. You are protected. You are chosen. Let them unravel. Let their influence shrink. Let their illusions decay. And let your miracle grow in silence until it roars.